The successor to the LFA is finally coming. After nearly 15 years since the company's last supercar effort, Lexus has been caught testing something pretty special. And it's not just renders or wishful thinking, people, but a real, running, driving, Nürburgring lapping prototype is here. Here's what we know. It's gonna have a twin turbocharged V8. It's based on the GR GT3 concept from 2022, and it's rumored to be called the LFR. And from what we're seeing, it's got a real chance at reclaiming the supercar crown. Lexus has been spotted out testing it hard, from Nürburgring hot laps to fine-tuning its road-going manners on country roads, and we're not just talking about a concept here. This is happening. Under the hood, the LFR won't be bringing back the LFA's V10 scream. I know, it makes me sad too, but it's not going soft either. Instead, we're looking at a twin-turbo V8 beefed up with hybrid assistance. This hybridized powertrain is going to add torque and efficiency, but let's not pretend that that's its primary role. This is pure performance tech designed to make the LFR the most powerful and agile car Lexus has ever produced. Now, the exact power figures are still under wraps, but the word on the street is somewhere north of 800 horsepower, putting it squarely in the territory of Ferrari's 296 GTB and the rumored upcoming supercar from McLaren that will replace the 750S. As for appearance, while we haven't seen this beauty fully disrobed, Lexus has been careful to keep it fully dressed in camo, the LFR's design appears like something straight out of a GT3 dream. With those long hood and cab rearward proportions, it honors the LFA and brings the basic three-box shape more in line with some of the greats like the Dodge Viper or the Mercedes-AMG GT. Lexus has borrowed heavily from the GR GT3 concept, meaning the LFR has got a long, lean silhouette with a low-slung stance that screams race-bred. Look closely at the hood and you'll spot those functional nacadocks channeling airflow, flanked by massive canards. There are intakes behind the front and rear wheels, surely all working to keep that turbocharged V8 cool. Around back, Lexus seems to be testing two different fixed spoiler setups, ranging from a subtle, more subdued wing to one that's still aggressive enough to stand out at the track. And that's not the only unique element here. Below the spoiler sits a newly designed diffuser housing quad tailpipes. For the first time, spy shots have given us a peek at the LFR's interior. Expect a fully digital driver-focused setup with racing-inspired elements. There's a rounded digital speedometer front and center, and cameras appear to replace traditional mirrors, feeding into screens at the base of the dashboard. The center console is all about minimalism, housing an electronic parking brake and automatic shifter. And Lexus seems to be taking the track-to-road approach seriously, adding tech for both performance and convenience. Although it must be said this car is still under heavy development, so a lot of what we see here is definitely subject to change. And speaking of change, one thing we can kind of hope does is this car's signature sound. Now, if you haven't heard this thing ripping around the Nürburgring yet, you might be surprised. Take a listen. The LFR doesn't shriek like V10 LFA did, it's more of a deep, restrained growl. It's worth noting, though, that these prototypes are quieter than the track-only variant, and while it's not LFA levels of spine-tingling auditory pleasure, remember, these test models aren't production spec, especially in the exhaust department. Lexus could still turn up the volume on the final version, and one can hope they might even call on their old friends at Yamaha to get things dialed in just right. But if you're hoping for LFA levels of sound drama, this hybrid V8 is likely a different, quieter animal any way you slice it. It's not bad, just different. So how fast is it? Well, the LFR prototypes have already hit sub 8-minute lap times on the Nürburgring. Remember, these are early tests. Lexus engineers are currently focused on perfecting handling and setup, with no record chasing just yet. As testing ramps up and production gets closer, don't be surprised if those lap times drop significantly. Plus, it's already wearing 20-inch Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. Serious rubber that tells us Lexus means business when it comes to on-road grip. I mean, if they're pulling off sub 8-minute lap times while they're still developing this thing, chances are this car's gonna be quick, folks. So we know it'll look good and go fast, but this all raises the question, where exactly will the LFR fit in the world of modern supercars, with rivals like Ferrari's 296 GTB, Lamborghini's hybrid successors, and McLaren's newest creations, not to mention the upcoming 1,000 horsepower ZR1 or anything Porsche is building right now? It's stepping into a pretty fiercely competitive arena. But Lexus has a unique angle. They're bringing a race-ready car to the road, not unlike the recent Mustang GTD, a homologation special that packs incredible track performance with road-ready features. In fact, much like the GTD, arguably the real reason behind the LFR project getting the green light is this. The current car Lexus is campaigning in GT3, the RCF, is outdated, outmoded, and straight up not competitive anymore. It's been racing since 2017 and is based on a platform that's over a decade old. The RCF doesn't have the same advanced aerodynamics and modern lightweight materials that many of its rivals do, putting Lexus at a disadvantage in a field where cutting-edge tech and precision engineering are key to taking home a trophy. And the idea here is that if Lexus is out there taking home the gold for all the world to see, when you're shopping for your next crossover, well, you might give the company that builds the champion more than a second look. And then there's the bonus effect of having a car like this sitting in a dealer showroom. I mean, it'd sure get me to stop by my local Lexus dealer to take a look, but if I'm honest, I think it's much bigger than that. Let's step back for a moment. Lexus's move with the LFR marks a serious shift for the brand. While they've always been about luxury and reliability, the LFR signals a new era, one where Lexus wants a seat at the high-performance table once again. And given their experience with the LFA and the engineering resources of Toyota's Gazoo Racing, the LFR can and almost certainly will achieve this. Since the rebirth of Toyota's performance cars dating back to the GT86, they've steadily rolled out new, more exciting, and more performant models. Think GR Yaris and Corolla and Supra. And there are rumors about an upcoming Celica and MR2 as well. But a car like the LFR? Well, that sort of completely rounds things out here. It's like the final boss. And it lets both Toyota and Lexus absolutely flex their incredibly large automotive muscles. The LFR could well be Japan's answer to Europe's supercar giants, blending Japanese reliability with Lexus's newfound performance ambitions. And their strategy here feels similar to that of Porsche with its GT3 models. One version for the track, one for the road. It's not clear, though, if the track-focused LFR GT3 has any chance of being street legal. I'm gonna guess, probably not, but you never know. Now, let's talk dollars. The LFA back in 2010 was a $375,000 car, and Lexus only produced 500 of them. With the LFR's tech, hybrid powertrain, and track-to-road engineering, it wouldn't be a surprise if we're looking at a price tag north of $400,000. Which is a ton of money. But if the rate at which the old LFAs have appreciated lately tells you anything less than $500,000 or so would be a bargain. I mean, not for me, for some of you, maybe. As far as how many they'll build, well, it's hard to say. Technically, GT3 homologation rules only require 20 road-going units built within a 24-month period for the car to qualify for competition. Now, that's assuming GT3 is the only motorsports goal here. Other classes require 500 cars or more. But homologation requirements might not tell the full story. If Lexus thinks they can sell more of these, they might build them. With the race car set to debut at Daytona in 2026, we can expect the road model to follow closely behind, likely hitting the streets by the following 6 months to a year. The Lexus LFR is not here to be an LFA clone. It's its own machine engineered for the modern supercar landscape. Lexus seems to be taking everything it's learned from the LFA to the GT3 series and Gazoo Racing to build a car that aims to go head-to-head with the world's finest. Will it match the LFA's iconic status? Time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Lexus isn't playing it safe. They're going all in. So what do you think? Does the LFR have the potential to rival the legends of Ferrari or Porsche? Or is Lexus shooting too high here? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Do me a favor, if you're new here, get subscribed and we'll be keeping you up to date on the LFR as we learn more. And since you're here, why don't you go watch some of our other content right over here, like this review of the GR Corolla or whatever YouTube thinks is best for you next. Otherwise, I'm Trav, this is Ideal. See you all next week.